Is it true that you had the Michael J. Fox role in Back to the Future?
Yes, it is.
What happened?
Well, I used to have a great answer for this, that in the sequels, they would go back in time to the point when I was in the cast, and it would all become explained, but I can no longer give that answer. What happened was the director fired me.
Why?
He didn't like my work.
So they were well into the filming, or right at the start?
We were pretty far into filming, yes. He was very nice about, well, as nice as you can be when you're firing someone, but he said that I wasn't giving the performance that he wanted for his film, which I can respect.
How big a disappointment was that for you? You had to have a pretty good sense that this was going to be a box office success.
No, actually, I didn't. And I try not to think about how a film might perform at the box office. I think that's detrimental to performing. But it was devastating to me. I was a young actor. It was probably the worst thing that can happen to you in your career.
Do you ever get over, and when I say you, I don't mean just you individually, does any performer, you think, ever get over the fear of being rejected by a director, by a casting director, by the audience, by critics?
Sure, I think you do. I think people do constantly if you're at all healthy. I have, just in the fact that once you've been fired by, a huge boffo movie, what could be worse? What could happen to me in my career that could be worse than that? And somehow I survived that. And now I have, I think, a much better sense of myself, and I no longer have a lot of those fears that I once did.
So probably a good thing that it
Ultimately, yes, difficult medicine at the time, but...
What was the next thing you did right after that?
I went back to my acting class with Peggy Fury and Bill Traylor. And I studied for a year, and then I went to Europe and did 2 beautiful films that really meant something to me, and got back on the horse.
Now, you replaced Eric Stoltz eventually in the role of Marty McFly. How did you feel about that? I mean, presumably you were quite pleased to get the part.
Well, I had a lot of feelings. I had real mixed emotions about it. It is, in my way of thinking, the actor's nightmare to start a project and for something to happen and to have to leave it under whatever circumstance. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. But as I talked to Stephen and Bob Zemeckis and whatnot, I found it was a very mutual thing, and they were very compassionate and very understanding in the way that they dealt with him. And when I understood that after talking to them, that they weren't saying, well, dump this guy and you'll come in or whatever. It was just they spoke very highly of Eric, and that impressed me, and that made it an easier thing for me to step into.